Hi, my name is Chuck Winters, free safety for the University of Michigan. You'll see me later on in the show. But first, here's Holes and Thomas.
Along with my buddy here, Thomas Gwines, and we're here to discuss Michigan football on our new episode of Michigan Football 95. We're going to discuss the Boston College Eagles and our trip to BC over to Chestnut Hill. We're going to discuss the upcoming games with Miami and Northwestern. So, Thomas, what are your initial thoughts about the BC game?
BC game, definitely a physical, hard-fought game. It was kind of interesting being in Boston College, for me at least, for the first time. Definitely my first trip out to the East Coast, and had a good time out there. The defense played great. Offense, we struggled, but, we came through and came out with a victory.
Yeah, the offense did seem to sputter a little bit. What was the reason for it? Any ideas?
Definitely, the defensive schemes that we're looking forward to earlier in the week during practice, Boston College kind of shifted it on us a little bit. We're switching up their defense, and we were somewhat out there in a miss, so to speak, and weren't really making the correct checks and stuff like that off the bat. But once the game got rolling, we got acclimated to what was happening out there. We did a little bit better.
Seems like Coach Jackson and Coach Carr really went to the invention board coming up with a couple trick plays. What was the deal with those, or they got any more tricks up their sleeve?
Well, I think that's just indicative to our the Michigan team this year. We're a lot more wide open, and we're out there trying to have a lot more fun this year, as hopefully everybody can tell. And we're not really trying to steer away from our bread and butter, so to speak, of power football. But we do have a little couple quirks up our sleeves for opponents, so they can't really just sit back and hone in our game plan.
Biaka Batuka going to be the backup quarterback behind Greasy?
I don't know. I think Tim just better go ahead and stick to running. That's what he came here for. That's what he does best. But Tim's a great athlete, and I have a lot of confidence in him.
Tim's really been the workhorse lately. 32 carries against BC, 123 yards and a touchdown. He's got the sore shoulder. What's he doing to better prepare himself to be carrying the ball that much?
Well, see, my whole outlook on that is for Tim to be the man, he's going to have to continue to have great performances like he has, and continue to be the workhorse. A lot of hype has been built up about Tim, and definitely I think he's living up to it. And him only having 32 carries can only further perpetuate what's been said about him.
You talked about the defense having a great game. Mark Hartzell burned the Wolverines last year. Burned the Wolverines on defense, but this year only had 77 yards passing and under 100 yards rushing for the entire team. What did the Wolverines do to neutralize Hartzell? Was it just the pressure?
Definitely, looking at the game, you can definitely just look at our defense. Our defensive linebackers did a great job of getting pressure to them. We had Chuck Winters and Clarence Thompson come in on a couple corner blitzes that got home. And our defensive backfield is definitely much more improved than it was last year. I think that's definitely been a big improvement on the defensive backfield.
Now, the defensive backfield had 4 interceptions. That's the most interceptions in one game in a long time in Michigan. Do you think it's through practice, or do you think it's just a new attitude?
I think it's a combination of both. Guys are going back there a lot more confident in what they're doing. The defenses seem to be a lot more simplified. And also, we have a talented group of DBs back there. And this year, a lot of guys have more or less stepped up their game, and the older guys have stepped up, and the younger guys, like Charles Woodson, who's getting a lot of hype and pub right now, is definitely living up to his billing.
I went out to BC, drove the 13 hours. I wasn't expecting all that many Michigan fans there, but it seemed like there was as many Michigan fans as there were BC fans there. It maybe seemed like the battle between the rich alumni. But what's it mean to have so many fans out that far for you guys?
That's a great thing to see. You go into a hostile environment, to definitely see the home folks there, and it was recognized by the team. We're glad to see a lot of maize and blue out there. So to all those guys that made it out there, thanks, we appreciate it.
All the BC kids, J. Crew, chicks wearing skirts. Did you guys get a chance to see any of the BC crowd, or did you?
No, we didn't get a chance to hang out on campus, because Boston College is not in Boston. For those who didn't know, it's in Newton. And the highlight of the trip for me was we took a boat ride and saw some historical sites, all the Ironside stuff like that. And I got to drive the big ferry boat. And I drove it under this bridge and stuff, so that was pretty neat. The guys on board were kind of scared that I was going to wreck the boat and we were going to drown, but we made it through all right.
I'll tell you what, you better watch out driving all those Wolverines around.
Well, I'm certified.
I guess that works. All right, we're going to go to Danny Schwab. He's got a piece about our friends to the east, Eastern Michigan University. And after that, we'll hear a word from Trent Zakowicz.
Sacked 4 times, only 1 receiver to go to. Derek Mays. They ran the ball at time.
Hello, I'm Danny Schwab. This past Saturday, Michigan students experienced a first for the school year. A college football Saturday without Wolverines football. But rather than scan the boob tube, I suggest throwing away that remote. A suitable option exists just 10 miles away in Ypsilanti. So I experienced firsthand Eastern Michigan spirit, better known as E-motion. Welcome to Reinerson Stadium, home of the 2-1 EMU Eagles. I was fortunate enough to attend the homecoming game versus the Ohio University Bobcats. But before I celebrated with the zany fans, I needed to learn the cheers. Hey, Jody, what is the best, the strongest Eastern Michigan cheer?
Probably go emu.
Okay, can you teach it to me?
Yeah, it goes go emu, go go emu emu,
Go, emu, go, go, emu, emu, go, emu, go, go, emu, emu, go, emu, go, go, emu, emu. All right. And once I learned the words, everything came into place.
Let's go! Oh! Let's go! Oh! Let's go! They're falling in a straight line. They're going through a tight one. The kids are losing their mind. The blitzkrieg pop. They're falling in the back seats. The generated heat. What's aimed in the back seat? The blitzkrieg pop.
Believe it or not, I've just been here for about approximately an hour. I've already been named Homecoming King. What an honor. I'm here with Bambi. Bambi was named my queen, and I think we make a great couple. How about you?
Oh, wonderful.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of.
Bambi, it has to be asked, and I'm sure you've been asked this many times. We're from the University of Michigan, and our brains, you know, I'm not on the same tone with you here. Were you named after the movie? Be honest.
No, I wasn't named after the movie. My father liked the meaning of the name.
Which is?
Little child, from the Italian, from Bambino.
Ah, and I thought it was Little Deer who got lost in the woods. Talk about feeling stupid. They even got me into the game. I scored the winning touchdown. Final score, Eastern Michigan 31, Ohio 20. And if this TV thing doesn't work out, they even promised me a job. What a spirited and generous bunch.
Seniors is definitely that the coaches can only do so much, and it's the players out there playing that are going to make the difference. And as seniors, you can lead in 2 different ways. One's vocal and one's by action. And I think action is where most of the seniors have to come in and we have to show their freshmen how it's done in their practice, not by telling them, not by saying do this or do that, but going out there and busting their butt and showing them how it's done.
You've been around it for a while. Who were some of the guys that taught you how you learned? Maybe when you were a freshman, was it the seniors or maybe even the sophomores who have just been through what you're going through?
It was the seniors. It was Chris Hutchinson, and every time I look back at the senior class, there's Buster Stanley, there's Steve River, and there's kids like that you go back and you watch their work ethics and you watch how they work and you try to go under them and emulate what they're doing.
If any, will there be any changes in the defensive alignment, the defensive strategies, more stunts, things like that?
I don't know. I think all I know is that Michigan defense had to come out there and do their best, and we haven't really, got into the schemes of what we're going to do and what we're not going to do. I know we're going to go out this year and we're going to play as a team. That's going to be, a little bit more of a difference.
offense that can't run across the street. Talking back about the BC game, like we said, the offense sputtered early, shanked punt by us, and they went in for a touchdown. Missed the extra point, and Boston College ahead 6-0 on their own home field. What was the attitude of the team at that point?
Attitude of the team was probably the first, as we was the same as we first had when we first got there. We knew that going into the game is going to be a hard-fought game. It's going to be a lot of different momentum changes, and that 6 points. Hell, we came down from 17 points against Virginia, so that was no big deal. But I felt pretty confident. The rest of the offense felt confident. The defense was doing a great job. They went for a two-point play. We stuffed that, so we just knew offensively we just had to get our part of the game rolling. And once we got that going, the rest was pretty much cake.
Other than a Remy Hamilton field goal, our offense really didn't start rolling until about 3 minutes really left in the first half. What got it going?
Well, just offensively, offensive line-wise, we just took it upon ourselves to get the game really going. The offensive line this year is taking a lot of pride within itself and more or less saying, put the game on the line. And when I say what I mean by the line, the offensive line. And, we kind of are notorious for starting late, but once we get going, usually we're doing pretty well. And that's basically what happened. It was just like guys just trying to get it going. And because we know we're better than Boston College, and it's time to go out there and play.
Right. We scored, then we intercept the ball, come back, we want a field goal to end the half. Now, was that part of your 2-minute drill to get out of bounds in time for the?
Right. The coaching staff was definitely trying to get out of there by at least getting a touchdown or another field goal, and definitely when Amani, I believe, caught the pass and got out of bounds to get Remy in position for the field goal, that was a very big part of the game because it helped keep the momentum swayed to our side as we went into the half.
Yeah, what was the mood in the locker room at halftime?
The mood in the locker room was, we were up. We kind of felt things shifting our way, but also we were trying to stay focused, and everybody was saying score 0-0. First half is over, time to go out, play another 2 hard halves, and then bring another victory home.
Okay. Ed Davis is running the ball great for us whenever Tim's not in.
Right.
Is that just his senior leadership coming through? Or?
I just think you can call it senior leadership, but I just think that's Ed Davis as a person coming through. Ed's a quiet guy. Ed's got his tattoo on his arm called the Quiet Storm. We all got tattoos when we went out to the Holiday Bowl. And it's so fitting because that's the type of person Ed is. Ed's a very quiet kind of guy, but once he blows up, he blows up. And, I think he's just doing that for us this year. He feels it's his time. He's a 5th-year senior. He's just going out in the ball of glory.
All right, you gave away Ed's secret. What's your tattoo say?
My tattoo says the world is mine. I'm kind of confident in that sense. And, I feel the world is my oyster. So, I'm just going to go out looking for the biggest pearl I can find.
So Michigan football's all about, I guess.
I guess.
All right, and Thomas interviewed Chuck Winters, one of the defensive stars this year, a much improved Chuck Winters, too. You might want to talk to him a little bit about that. Take a look at it.
Hi, everyone. I'm Thomas Gwines, here with Chuck Winters, starting free safety for the Michigan Wolverines. Chuck, my first question for you is, what's your impression of Coach Vance Bedford, the new DB coach this year?
Vance Bedford is a very skilled coach. He's a very technique type coach. He's understanding and he knows the ability that we have, and he's trying to utilize that on the field and put us in the best defense that'll make us play well.
You said the best defense. There's been a noticeable difference between the defensive backfield compared to last year and this year. Could you possibly give us some insight to what those changes and differences are?
For the summer, we have worked on staying down on our back pedal, and that's making us more quicker to the ball. We're getting better breaks. We're seeing the quarterback better. I think that the defense overall is more of an attacking defense with our defensive scheme. Coach Madison put in over the summer and over the spring. It's more of a defensive, more of attack defense, and it's not like last year. It was more of a laid back, and we were attacking after we saw the ball thrown. But now we're attacking on the first look of the quarterback.
Chuck, last year it seemed to be that you were taking a lot of heat from the press and other quote-unquote football gurus. about certain big plays that was given up against the Michigan defense last year. And this year, there's been a notable turnaround within your game. Can you tell our audience what differently that you're doing and as far as your game goes?
Okay, I believe that the biggest thing is having confidence within yourself. Last year, my confidence was shattered early. You know, we had a few big plays, but I say maybe 2 or 3 plays out of a whole year, which is maybe over 100, maybe over 200 plays over a year. And I let that get to me and bring me down, and so my performance came down. And the biggest thing was me believing in myself, and that's what I didn't do last year. And all over the summer, and you know, as well when I ran, it was the biggest thing, just trying to me believing in myself. No matter what happened, no matter what occurred, I still had to believe in myself and understand that it's 11 guys on the field, and you know, it was something that occurred up front, whatever. You know, I can't just take the blame for myself.
You came over with a couple of big interceptions. Could you please give our fans some sort of insight to what was going through your head, what set up the actual play itself?
Well, the first one with Rob Sweat, I was running to the out, and in the previous game, Virginia game, I had injured myself, so I was trying to run out there to the out, I guess I would say. And I saw the ball thrown, and he threw it back inside. I couldn't stop and plant, you know, my ankle was kind of weak, so I just put my hand out, and it tipped off my hand, and Rob Sweat got the interception. And the second interception was later on in the game, and that was maybe in the fourth quarter, maybe 2 minutes left in the game. And I saw the quarterback was rolling out. My eyes got big when he threw it. I caught the ball, tried to run, you know, got down to maybe 3-4 yard line, tried to stretch it out. The guy came from behind and hit it out my hand. We fumbled, but fortunately we got it in the end zone. It could roll out of bounds, so the offense got it nailed down. We won the game.
All right, Chuck, thanks for this time, and back to you.
All right, Thomas, here we are. We got a week off right in the middle of the season. What in the world are you guys going to do this weekend?
This weekend, after we have a kick practice Saturday, so after that practice, I'm heading home back to Chicago. But this was a well-needed week. You know, we've been going at it since August 3rd, and the coaches more or less took that into account. Had a little time off today, and tomorrow's been both our 2 work days. And like I said before, I have a kick practice Saturday, so it's just basically a time for us to relax a little bit, get healed up, and more or less get more mentally into the season.
Next week we got Miami of Ohio coming, Miami of Ohio, and their head coach Randy Walker coming to the big house. I don't know, maybe it was in the overall scheme of things that Northwestern beat Notre Dame, but Notre Dame's off our schedule and Miami beats Northwestern.
Right.
What's your first impressions of the Miami team?
Miami team, definitely a scrappy bunch of guys, very athletic, have a lot of overall team speed, defensively speaking. Not taking them lightly at all. You know, this seems to be the year of the upset, and you know, we're going to go into Miami of Ohio like we did Virginia, Illinois, and BC, and everybody else this year.
Miami of Ohio, another team from the MAC. Has there been any talk about not letting the Michigan State, Central Michigan?
No, it hasn't been any talk of that. You know, only talk that's really been around here is, you know, some of our coaching staff. You know, Bo Schembechler played at Miami of Ohio and also coached there for a short stint. And we know the tradition that they have there at Miami of Ohio. And so, like I said before, we're not taking anybody lightly. And, you know, we're not looking towards Northwestern or the Big Ten season just because this is Miami of Ohio and they play in the MAC. You know, they're good. They're a good squad, and we're looking to a good game.
Okay. The Northwestern team beat Notre Dame, probably the biggest miracle of the season. They're calling it the upset of the decade. Finally peak into the top 25, only to get knocked out by the same Miami of Ohio team on one of the probably craziest fourth quarters in college football history. Northwestern seems to have a good team. It seems like they can beat anybody at any time, obviously, with the Notre Dame game. Has there been any kind of mental preparation going into the Big Ten season, back into the Big Ten season and seeing Northwestern?
Nothing out of the ordinary, taking each week, you know, one day at a time. But definitely, you know, when you look at Northwestern, very talented bunch of guys, and you know their reputation of being a doormat of the Big Ten. You know, slowly they're starting to shrug that, and they're starting to stand up and be noticed. You know, so we just got to go in and just, you know, play each game week by week.
Let's talk a little bit about the Big Ten. Okay, the Big Ten last year really took a beating in the non-conference schedules and in the bowl games,
Right.
for the most part. Penn State obviously did pretty well, and coming back this year, they're blowing out some of their opponents. They beat Temple. Obviously, that's not much of an opponent.
Yeah, well.
But Penn State's done well. Michigan State lost the first game and came back strong against Louisville. What do you think about the Penn State team so far?
Once again, Penn State's always going to be Penn State, but in my opinion, they're not the team they were last year. They have a couple of big play guys, but I don't think they posed a threat that they were last year. And but you know, you can't take anybody lightly.
Right. Michigan State, new head coach. They came out real fired up after getting just wasted by Nebraska.
Right.
Are you looking forward to that meeting in November?
You know, I'm always looking forward to the big neighborhood brawl, as we call it, Michigan State, especially going back up there to play them. I believe it was my freshman or sophomore year. We played Michigan State up there when we lost, and it's going to be nice to go there and take that stadium over and shut some of those fans up, because they're pretty obnoxious up there in East Lansing.
You're not kidding. I went up there for that game and had a beer bottle miss my head by about an inch.
Yeah.
It's pretty ridiculous. Ohio State looks like one of the toughest teams, obviously one of the toughest teams in the Big Ten, maybe one of the toughest teams in the nation. What are you thinking about that game coming up in Thanksgiving weekend?
Well, if the scenario goes as planned, you know, hopefully it'll be Michigan, Ohio State playing in the Big House once again for the Big Ten championship, and I'm definitely looking forward to that challenge after, you know, the shellacking we took at Columbus. But Ohio State has impressed me from the Pigskin Classic on, and definitely both sides of the ball that day is going to have to come to play. Our defense is going to have to, you know, step up even more, and the offense is definitely going to have to start getting things rolling early to keep the momentum shifted our way.
Kind of want to take it back to the Bo versus Woody days, huh?
I guess, you know, it's going to be a great game, and for all those who don't see the game, you know, it'll be missing out on a treat. But yeah, Ohio State's definitely a team to be reckoned with within the Big Ten.
Okay. Something that I wanted to talk with you a little bit about, the new trend in college football. Maybe it's because of the rankings and people saw what happened to Penn State last year when when Indiana scored a lot of fourth quarter points on them. Teams have been running up the score like anything. Nebraska, Florida State obviously has been ridiculous. Penn State and Ohio State, but all have been running up the scores. Where Michigan, on the other hand, had a chance to drive in a late quarter touchdown against Memphis, had really pulled Dreisbach in the fourth quarter of the BC game, and then after the Chuck Winters interception, down at the 2, didn't punch it in with over a minute left.
Right. Well, you know, also we had another opportunity in the Illinois game after Tyrone Butterfield made that big reception. Down there, we had another opportunity to score, and you know, we decided to down it. But I think that's indicative to Lloyd Carr, the whole Michigan persona, so to speak. You know, we're here to try to play with class. You know, if we have a team beat, we're not going to try to, you know, rub your noses in it. And I think that goes once again back to Coach Carr. You know, he's really trying to stress sportsmanship and stuff, and more or less Michigan, the team, you know, we're trying to look into ourselves and not trying to impress everybody in the outside world.
Let's talk about sportsmanship and class. I'd like to talk a little bit about a hot topic, and that's the Nebraska team. Obviously, they're playing well, but it seems like they got a heck of a lot of criminals on that team. You have Phillips, who's been kicked off the team indefinitely now for assault. You had one for attempted second-degree murder. You know, what kind of things does Michigan do to not get in that kind of situation?
Well, first off, I think you have to look at the way our coaches go out and recruit our players. We're not only looking for great athletes, but we're looking for standout citizens as well, you know, to compete in the classroom, on the field, and also socially. And I think by us doing that, it nips all the other problems we have a lot of other schools in the bud, you know, so it works out good for us that way.
Do you all do any kind of community work, or, you know, visit hospitals or anything like that?
Definitely. You know, I've this past summer, went and talked to a lot of different children's groups. We talked to the Ann Arbor Youth Community Orchestra. We go to Moss Children's Hospital all the time as a team, or just fellas. We might just get a group of fellas to go up there and go see the kids, things like that. This Sunday coming up from 1 to 2 and 2 to 3, we'll have guys at Chrysler Arena signing autographs for kids and stuff like that. So, you know, we're not only trying to be visible on the field and just on campus life, but we're also trying to serve our community as well.
Right. I mean, I grew up in this area, and I always looked at the Michigan Wolverines as, you know, these superheroes. And at the spring game, we had our chance to go and, you know, have them sign autographs and everything. What do you try to do for the little kids who still think of you guys as the superheroes?
Well, definitely, you know, with the little kids, as impressionable as they are, you know, we try to set a really good example for them. And, you know, like you said, during spring games and stuff, they open up the field, let fans come down, meet the players, sign autographs. And also at all our home games, you know, when we're coming out the stadium, you know, we always sign autographs for the kids and stuff like that. And I think that, once again, just more or less reflects positively on the athletic department we have here and upon the university as well.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit, you said the university. Obviously, a school as tough as Michigan, one of the top schools in the world, academics has got to be a huge pressure on the team, especially with the time commitment. How do you guys handle and juggle football and academics and girlfriends and social life and everything else?
College life. Well, you know, I was lucky enough, me and some other guys, when we first got here as freshmen, you know, we had pretty good GPAs our first semester here on campus. But, you know, by doing that, you get off study table. If you can prove to the coaching staff and the academic counselor stuff that you can hold your own, you know, basically school's pretty easy.
Well, Thomas, I'd like to thank you for another great show.
Thank you.
This has been another episode of Michigan Football 95. Join us here next time when we discuss the Miami and the Northwestern games and look ahead to Michigan's further Big Ten brawls. Till then, I'm Jeff Holshausen.
Thomas Gwines.
Go Blue, take care of yourself.